Hi, welcome to another craft video from the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library. I'm Cheryl and I'm in charge of the craft kits at the main library. And today's video is to accompany a kit that we'll be giving out starting April 1st, 2025. But if you don't live anywhere near our library, or if you're watching this later on our YouTube channel, don't worry, I'll tell you everything you need to purchase to make this craft with your own supplies. And today we're making these adorable little beaded wire trees. And they're on a rock. They just set up like this. And they're very decorative. Aren't they cute? And all it is beads, wire, and a rock. So what you'll have in the kit, or what you'll need to purchase if you don't have a kit, is first of all wire. We used 20 gauge in this, but 18 or 20 gauge will work. This wire is a little firm. We got this in the jewelry section. This wire is a little firm for this project, a little stiff, but you want it softer, preferably, but this is what we could buy that we could get enough of. And then you will need beads in different various sizes. Now, this set of beads we bought in a set like this. It had 6 different colors, and it has 4 different sizes of the beads, so they're all coordinated. But you can just buy multiple beads of different sizes of the same color. And you also will get a rock, one with a fairly flat base so that it sits nicely. Would be good. Okay. So what we're going to do, you're going to bend one end of the wire. You need to bend one end into a little loop, about 1/4 of an inch or so, like that. That's to keep the beads from falling off. The other end you're going to leave flat because you need to thread the beads on that end. Now, if you have hand issues or finger issues and you can't bend them like that, you can always take a pair of pliers and bend them over. Or if you don't have a pliers, in a pinch, you can get an old pair of scissors and kind of grab it, use it to grab it about 1/4 of an inch down, and use that to bend it over. Whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and just use my fingers. Okay, so I have a little loop on one end of each one of these. It doesn't have to be a perfect loop. It's just there to keep the beads from falling off. So you're going to now take your beads and you're going to string them on. And it's probably best to get a tray or a bowl or something and put these on so they don't roll away, because these little suckers like to roll away. And you will have more beads than you need. So we're going to start, when we're threading it up, we're going to start with the small beads. And you are going to put 3 of the small beads on. 1, 2, 3, and then the next size up would be this one, and we're going to put 3 of those. Okay. Then the next size up would be that one, and we're going to put 2 of those. And then for the big ones, we're going to put 1. Oops. See how they roll away? Okay. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to do these in pairs. Okay, so I've got a pair. Now I'm going to take these and I'm going to form a branch. So I'm going to do like a twist tie thing. So I'm going to hold my fingers and push the beads all the way up. And then I'm just going to take the other side and I'm going to twist. See how I'm going to start twisting and start twisting. And I'm going to twist for about an inch or so. So that's my first pair. And I've got 12 wires, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to do them all in pairs, so I'll end up with 6 of these. So we'll do that and we'll come back in a minute. All right, so I have twisted up all of my sets. So I have 6 sets, and you'll see I do have a bunch left over of the beads, so don't worry if you drop one and you can't find it on the floor. You've got enough extras. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the trunk, and we're going to bring all of them together, and then we're going to twist them all together in one batch. So get them up fairly even, and you're going to start twisting. You see here where you've twisted that inch long? You're going to start twisting them all together here at the bottom of that section. And you're going to twist them together for about 2 inches. Yeah, that should be good. I just want to make sure I have enough left of the wires to wrap around whatever rock I've got. Okay, so I'm going to separate out the wires of the roots. Okay, kind of spread them out evenly. And I'm going to figure out my rock sits flat like that, so these are going to go down on here and they're going to wrap around. Now this is frankly the hardest part, is to get this, because when you wrap these around you might form little bumps and lumps that might cause it to rock a little bit. So I'm going to try and hold this like this, where I've decided where I want my trunk to be, right at that spot. So I'm going to flip it over and keep it there, and I'm going to try and keep it in that spot, and I'm going to try and do pairs across from each other. So a wire on each side in there, a wire on each side this way. And in order to lock it in place, the first few are the hardest because your rock wants to slide around. So I'm holding it with this hand. I've got the trunk in these fingers and I'm holding the rock. And I'm going to take these two and I'm going to twist tie them, just like I did the branches and the trunk. Twist around and fold these over and try and flatten as much as possible. I like to set it down on here and try and flatten that knot. And then I'm going to take ones from the other side and twist tie those. And I'm going to do another one over this direction. And I'm going to just work in pairs across and try to position the little twisty knots in different spots if you can, if at all possible. See, I twist tied that one there, that one there, that one there. Try not to let the knots stay on top of each other, if possible, because it will make it harder to be stable and sit down. Twist, get this set, twist. Okay, now I've got all of these pieces to the side, and I'm going to try and I'm going to put it like this, and I'm going to try and flatten it and see if it's going to sit. Yay, it's going to sit. Okay, now because all the knots are right there in the center, it is rocking a little bit, so I've got a couple of things I can do. On these, what I can do to hide the ends, I can actually just take the ends and form a little loop around them, and make the loops on the outside. So all your knots are in the center, and if you build up the wire around the outside, it will make it form a little bit more stableness. So I'm just going to bend those over with the wires to the outside if I can. If I don't need this, I can always cut these off. If you have a pair of wire cutters, you can. If your rock is flat and not high like this, and your trunk is a little bit shorter, you might have extra. If your roots are extra long, you can always bring them up and wrap them around. See, this one is a smaller rock. So what I did is some of them, if they had a long enough tail, I just brought them up and I wrapped them around the trunk because they were long enough. This one we've made, it's a little bit taller, and we've made a little bit taller tree, so none of these are long enough to wrap around. So I'm just going to bend these back underneath the rock. And because I'm keeping these all toward the outside, this should help stabilize it. Now I'm going to, whoops, I missed a few. I'm going to flatten it really hard, and you may have to adjust it here and there. You may have to thread, you can maybe thread these underneath, the empty tails underneath some of the wires, if you can. And that's gonna stand up pretty well. So I think I'm good with that. Now we're going to kind of give the trunk a little bit of a bend so it looks kind of like a bonsai. I mean, you're welcome to leave it straight if you want a very tall, thin tree, but I think they look a little bit better just having a little bit of a bend in them. That can also help with your balancing the rock. If you're tilting to one side, you can bend the tree to the other side to make a counterbalance. But for the most part, you want to just make sure whatever it is, you might have to adjust and play with it until it balances and sets up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the root or the branch parts, and each one of those we're going to curve a little bit, and we're going to curve these down into kind of a weeping willow form. So each pair of branches gets curved a little bit. And so I think that's what I've got my tree. There we go. Aren't those adorable? Well, thank you for watching another craft video from the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library. I'm Cheryl. I'll see you next time. Bye.